So I think last class we discussed on count operation. So we'll continue. So now we'll talk about other properties. So I'll give you an example of the count most popular interview question. Use case. Okay, on the incident table, display the count of incidents based on each category. So based on each category, how many incidents are there? Okay, you need to show the count as well as the category, something like this. For category, hardware, say 4 incidents. Category software, 3 incidents. Category inquiry, 10 incidents. For others, 20. So this is how based on each category. So these numbers will change, but the output should be something similar to this. Okay. So we need to use count here in order to get this kind of output. Here you see on the incident table, display the total number of incidents based on each category. Right. So if you talk about the script part here, first create the object using glide aggregate on incident table. Assign the object to some variable GAINC. Okay. So I don't want to apply any filter. So directly what I can use is GAINC dot add aggregate. Okay. Same syntax. Count. So what are we supposed to do? Display the count of incidents based on each category. So there's one method here. So observe carefully here. So go to incidents. Right. So total 54 incident records. So what we'll do? We'll group by category. So we are seeing this kind of output. For category database 4, hardware 1. So we need to get this kind of output through the script. So we have touched the table, and what we want to do is we want to show the count. So for which what we have done, we have applied group by. So equivalent of this group by in the script is not, we have a method called group by. Okay, group by. category. Right? Next, after applying group by, query the records. So use while. So while is going to loop through each match records. So here we are using add aggregate to calculate the count based on each category. So now what I'll do, I'll declare one variable as cnt is equals to jinc dot get aggregate. Okay. After this, so I need to print the count value. So this count variable is now storing the count of the each categories. Okay. Based upon the current loop, the count value is stored in the number of records count is stored in the count variable. So I want to print it. So you can use gs dot info or gs dot print. Any method should be fine. So what I'm doing is, so category. How do I get the category? Variable dot get value. Right. So get value is used to get the value present on the field. So get value of the category. Right. So ga dot get value, and within the single quotes or double quotes give the field name. Next, count. So you're getting the count on this particular variable, right? Use it here. So join these two outputs using plus operator. Okay. Copy this. Go to background script. Most important example in interviews. Scroll all the way down. See here, database 4, hardware 1, inquiry 43, software 6. So you're able to get the output, but we will format the output. So you see here, database kept small d, hardware small h, inquiry, software. Whereas you see the display values here, database 4, hardware, inquiry or help. This is a display name. Here we are getting the backend names of the choices in category, and software is capital S, but here it is small s. So what we will do is we will format the output. Getting it? So also we want to give some spacing across the wording. So database, I want to place some colon, then 4. Hardware, colon, and then 1, like that. Getting it? So how do I do that? So observe carefully here. This is what you're printing, right? So before this input, let's do one thing. So put some static text as category. Okay. Category space, what you can say, something else, hyphen. Category hyphen, again space. So this is all given in the double or single quotes. Next, this is other input. So these two are different values. So put concatenator to join them. Getting it? Right? So next, before this CNP, what you want to do? I want to place the column, right? Something like this. Put space here. So now this is another input and this is another input. Already concatenator is already there. Now this is another input, static input. This is dynamic output. So these are two different inputs or outputs. What you can do? Put some plus concatenator. Getting it? So one more thing. So we are getting the backend choice values, right? If you want to get the display values like this, choice display values or labels, right? So what you can do? You can use something else. Get display value. Instead of get value will give you the backend value of the choice or the value present on the field. But get display value will give you actual value that you're seeing on the screen. See your category. So this is what you're seeing. This is the label. Okay, display name. So if you want to get the display value present on the field, then you have to use get display value. So now copy this, paste it here. Right? Same thing. Do it in the background script. See here, category hyphen database. See now display value colon 4. So this is a display value. Everybody clear?
Yes, sir.
So next, most important example. So here I'm using count, right? Not count, sorry. Here I'm using category. So they may ask you to print the output by grouping based on the state. Okay. So for each state of incidents, how many records are there? So for each state, how many records are there? So this format they will ask you to print through a script. Getting it? So most popular example, please practice. So next we'll talk about sum. So let's go back to the list view. So observe carefully here. I think yesterday we applied list calculations here, right? Right. Do one thing, group by category. So observe carefully here. I'm applying calculations, list calculations on this updates field, and I see I applied group by category. We already discussed about this list calculations, okay? So from this list controls, configure, list controls, configure, and then calculations, list calculations. So we have enabled all these options: total value, minimum, maximum, average. So now observe carefully for category database, what is the minimum value present on the updates? So on these 4 records, the minimum value is 12, right? 12. Maximum is 40. Sum of all these values is 90. Average is 22.5. Similarly, others. Only one record, so everything is same. For this inquiry, minimum is this, maximum value is this, average and then summation. Similarly for software, so this is the maximum, sum, minimum and average. Okay, so we'll have to print this kind of output. So for each category of the incidents, what are these values? So we want to print the summation first. For each category, print what is this value of sum on the updates field. On the updates field. So use case on incident table for each category, print the summation of updates field. So first touch the table using glide aggregate. Right. Incident. GINC dot, not applying any filter condition, directly using add aggregate. So this time you're doing sum. So use the operator sum. On which field? Updates, right? So it is sysmod count. So that's the backend name of the updates field. Okay. Right. So based on group by category, right? So apply group by. Right. Same syntax will follow. Okay. There won't be any changes. So say variable sum equals to 0 initially. Okay. Say sum equals to sum plus c dot get aggregate sum comma sys mod count. Here I'm declaring a variable as sum and I'm saying it as 0, and now sum equals to sum plus get aggregate of some sysmod count. So here this syntax will give you something like this. So sum equals to 0 plus the count value, whatever the summation that we get using this add aggregate, right? So that value, say for example, if it is for category inquiry, say the summation is, so for the database summation is 90, so it will be something like this, 90 will be something like this, 90. Getting it? So next, this is for the category database. So once the database category is completed, while loop again executes for the next set of category. So next set of category would be the software. So for software, again variable sum becomes 0. Sum equals to 0 plus summation. If you're not using this sum equals to 0, the old value of the category, so whatever the value that was in categories database, this sum will be carried forward and then added to the hardware. So 90 plus 4 becomes 94. So we do not want that. So that's the reason we are initially making sum as 0 to make sure that previous value won't get added on to the next value. Getting it? So next is write the printing statement. So copy the same format. So instead of count, what you can say sum. Okay. Some problem it seems. So compiler says some problem. Unterminated string letter. Okay. Right here you see we did not complete the single quote. Here we started single quote, but we did not end it here. So correct that. Some problem here in printing the values properly. I see some 090, next 04, 0477, 063. What are the actual values? So 90 is fine, 4 is fine. Summation is 4 triples. Please go mute. Summation is 63. So values are coming correctly, but the format is 0 is getting added before. So what we can do is, let's format the output. So what are the summation that you get right here? So we'll do this way. Convert this value, whatever the value that you're getting, into some integer. Okay, to some integer. So you can convert a value into an integer using parse int. Okay, parse int. So converting the value into integer and pass the input as the total value. So now try it. So parse int is used to convert into some integer format. See now, 94 4 63. Is this clear? Everybody clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. So this is about summation. Any of these properties could be asked in interviews, okay? But most popular is count. Others could also be asked, but be prepared. So this is about sum. Next is minimum. Minimum. So use case could be similar. So instead of summation, you can say minimum and copy the same script. So instead of sum, what you can do? Say minimum, min. So instead of sum here, what you can do? Minimum. Okay. And you need not even use this complete syntax. Okay. So directly what you can do is variable min is equals to. So since we used summation, uh, the previous value will be getting appended to the next value. We used the sum equals to 0 initialization, but here minimum you don't require that. So you can write simply like this: variable minimum is equals to this. Replace this min. Execute. So verify. So for database, minimum is 12. Category 4, hardware is 4. Inquiry 1, and software is 7. That means, so same thing you can do, just change the property. Right. Next is maximum. Similar use case. So instead of minimum, put maximum. Similar script. Right. Similar script. Instead of min, say max. right? Execute. So this is what the values. Next, average. Average of the values. Similar script, copy. Say AVG. Say AVG. AVG. So instead of parse int, use parse float. So integer will give you only the integer values. Float will give you the decimal values as well, because average always comes in the decimals. Average always comes in decimals. So in order to print the output in the decimals, use parse float. So this is how you can verify. So for database average is 22.5, right? For hardware it is 4. For inquiry it is 111.09, right? So for software it is 10.5. All the values are coming correctly. So this is about the glide aggregate. So these are the major use cases or the purpose of using glide aggregate. Any questions? Everybody following? Alivelu, Mahesh, Murali, Sai Deepika, Shivshankar.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. So what we will do is like next we'll get into the client-side scripting, but these concepts will come back again in the server-side scripting. Okay, so we need to thoroughly practice all these scripts, right? Especially the glide record syntax. How do you read? How do you write? How do you create? How do you edit records through glide records? So that's very, very important. We'll come back to that in the server-side scripting. So we'll switch back to the client-side scripting. Okay. So let's get back to the client-side scripting. So for client-side scripting, we won't be able to execute the script in the background script. We won't be able to execute the script in the background script like this. Okay. So you see here, specifically it says JavaScript executed on the server side. So that means only the server side script can be executed here, but not the client side script. Okay. So we'll see. How do we start with the client side scripting is, so we'll discuss few things called g_form, g_user. Okay. So these are the two major methods, especially g_form is the API majorly used in the client-side scripting. g_user is also used, but not as more as this g_form. So g_form is used to work on the record elements or form elements. So g_form is an API used to work on the form or the record on the from the client side. So for example, so you have this incident record, and you want to implement some logic on this particular record. Okay, so you can implement that logic using this client-side scripting, and that too using g_form. So g_form is used to work on the current record or current form through the client side. But server side, again, that will be different. In the client side, if you want to work, you have to use g_form. So let's see. So directly we cannot discuss g_form. We have to take some concept and work. So first is, there are different types of client-side scripting. So like client scripts, UI policies, and UI actions. So these are the different client-side scripting components. So first we'll start with client scripts. Okay. Client scripts are the JavaScript which runs on the client side or user end or front end. JavaScript code, client script is a JavaScript code which runs on the client side or user end or front end. So this is a simple definition. So there are various types, 4 types of client scripts. All these things are very, very important for the interviews. Okay. From any corner, any question could be asked. So first is on load. Next is on change. Next is on cell edit, on submit. Right? So these are 4 types of client scripts. So we'll start with the client scripts. So first we'll talk on load. So how do you configure on load kind of client script, and what is it actually? On load This is a client script which executes its logic during the load of the form or record. So this is a client script which executes its logic during the load or during the load of the form or the record. Getting it? So thing is, so whenever I'm opening this particular record, right? Opening this particular record, and if you want to execute some logic, you can use this on load client script logic. So observe carefully here. See here. This is other table, some other table. So click on new. So we can create new record. So observe carefully here. Whenever you're loading the form, new record, it's a new record. By default, it is showing as open. Okay. By default, it is showing as open. I'm selecting something here. So whenever I'm loading this particular record and it's a new record, status is by default open and it is read only. Now, if I save it, see, now I'm again loading it. So this is an existing record, valid record. And now, whenever this is a valid record and when you're loading the form, the field becomes editable and you can see only two choices here, open and in progress. Getting it? So whenever you're loading the form, it is checking whether the current record is an existing record or not. And then the logic is it is making the status as editable, and that too it is showing only two values. Select in progress and save it. So again, saving this is again loading the form. After saving the report, form will be loaded again. So now you can see status is again editable and it is in progress. And you can see some other choices, pending and resolved. Old choice that was open, that's not there. The new choices that is pending and resolved showing up here. Select resolve, right? Save. So when our status is resolved, again form is loaded, you can see other choices. That means whenever you're loading the form, system is checking whether it is a new record or existing record. If it is an existing record, it is checking the state, right? And then filtering the choices. Filtering the choices. Getting it? So whenever you're loading the form, if you want to execute some logic, so that logic you can write it in the onload client script, right? So it executes its logic during the load of a form or a record. Clear? Everyone clear?
Yes, sir.
Observe carefully. There is our table. So this is our table, right? So click on new. See a status. I can select any status. Getting it? So this is a new record and I can select any status. But I want to implement some logic on this status. So the one which we have seen previously, right? So let's take some use case and validate this status. So observe carefully. Use case. On the table. If the record is a new record, for new records, make the status as a read only and default status to open. Okay. For existing records, make the status editable and filter the choices as shown below. The status of the record is open. Then show only open, comma, in progress. Choices. The status is in progress. Then show in progress, pending, comma, resolve choices. Show pending and in progress. Resolve. Then show resolved. Closed. Closed. Then make the status read only. Right? So this is what the use case. So on this particular table, for new records, make the status as read only, default the status to open. For existing records, make the status editable and filter the choices, state choices as below. Status of the record is open, then show only open and progress choices. The status is in progress, then show only these choices, so user can select only these. It is pending, only this should be available for selection. It is resolved, only these choices should be available for selection. It is closed, then make the status as read only. Right? So this is what the use case. So we'll see the implementation in the next class. So tomorrow we do not have class. So we'll connect on Saturday.
Sir, can you send me that all the coding part in a chat box?
All the scripts you mean to say? All
Uh,
the scripts?
Today, sir, today.
Today's
Today, what you are telling? Yeah, yeah.
not sure because this is a huge notes, right? I don't think like it will be accommodating in the chat box. Let me try. No, it's too long. So we'll do one thing. I'll do one by one. So you can copy it. So once the meeting is ended, again you won't get it back. So copy it right away. Right? Take the copy. Taken the copy. Hello?
Okay, sir, please wait. Yeah, yeah, I'm taking, sir.
Yeah. Please let me know once it is done.
Yeah, sure, sir. Yeah, sir, done, sir.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Anybody has any questions? All right. So tomorrow we don't have class. We'll connect on Saturday. Thank you.